Living Local is presented by Amy Goss with Guild Mortgage. Amy is a proud Marine veteran serving Jacksonville and the surrounding communities with VA, FHA, USDA, and conventional home loans. She specializes in helping military families, first-time buyers, and everyone in between achieve the American dream of homeownership. Welcome to the very first episode of Living Local, authentic voices, conversations that matter. I'm your host, Steve Goodson, and the Man Cave Media Network is proud to launch a show focused on the people shaping the future of Onslow County. From Jacksonville to Swansboro, from Richlands to Holly Regis and East Ferry, and everywhere in between, we're sitting down with community leaders, business owners, nonprofit directors, educators, and elected officials who are creating real change in our community. And we're starting with something important. With the March 3rd Republican primary for Onslow County Commissioner approaching, our first episode features one-on-one conversations with candidates seeking a seat on the Board of Commissioners. The top three will advance to face Democratic candidates in November. We'll be discussing the issues that matter most to you, from growth and development to education funding, from infrastructure to public safety, from economic development to our partnership with Camp Lejeune, and so much more. No sound bites, no spin, just authentic conversations about the issues that matter the most. This is Living Local. Let's get going. Joining me today is Elliot Jarman. Elliot, welcome to Living Local. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
Well, sir. So Onslow County is growing, evolving, and facing some real decisions about its future. And the people who serve on the Board of Commissioners will have a direct hand in shaping that future. Let's jump right in and let the voters get to know you a little better. So let's really quickly, man, just tell everybody about Elliot Jarman and why you're running for Onslow County Commissioner.
Yes, sir. So yeah, again, my name is Elliot Jarman. I am born and raised in Onslow County in Richlands. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Morgan. We got a little boy, Eli.
Get that plug in.
We have a family business me and my dad run. And I've been a volunteer firefighter at Richlands for 20 years now, this past January, where I serve as president on that board. Trying to get into politics because we had some things happen over the past couple of years that we didn't really agree with, and I think this county can be steered in a little better direction than what we're doing right now. We got to get ahead of our property taxes. I think that's a big issue that we want to tackle. And EMS response times, our emergency services as a whole, and our growth. Our infrastructure has left behind. So,
well, that's a great read-in. Top three priorities, and you just mentioned
that was him.
That was him. That's great. And so, no previous political experience, but tell the voters and tell the folks watching, what do you think qualifies you or gives you good experience to be elected?
Of course. Yeah. So, running the business, I know how it is to budget and do things for that. I know how to lead a company, and being at the fire department, community service. I'm out in the community. I'm engaged in that. I love serving people. And I also do the budget for our fire departments. I just submitted it last Tuesday. So that's a whole big process.
And as a side, I know when you go to, because I used to work at Jones, I was retired from there, and we work with several we work with the county on several different economic development grants, but a pumper truck can be $750,000 to $1 million, $1.5 million, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's real money.
Oh, 100%. And
Yeah.
we're faced with that now because of, we bought a brand new truck in 21. It's $517,000.
Oh wow.
That same truck today is like
Yeah.
$1.2 million.
Yeah, when I retired in May of last year, and I was working on a grant with that just completed the grant with North Topsail Beach, maybe about 8 months previous, and I knew that the vehicle that they ended up getting was quite over $1 million. So that's real money.
Yes.
So we're very, very qualified to talk about budgets. So, and speaking of budgets, let's talk about that. The wishing growth as well. Being from here, you've seen the community change. Estimates have that we're over 200,000 people now, 213,000 people in Onslow County. And you missed your property taxes. The latest reevaluation for 2026 had property taxes increasing by about 37%. So with the fiscal year budget, of course, the fiscal year July 1st to June 30th, the fiscal year budget is $389 million. With 35% is allocated towards education.
Yes.
So 26 towards public safety. So the crest of that long build up is how you balance growth with the quality of growth and all these budget allocations that I mentioned with education and public safety. Are those the right priorities for taxpayers?
I think so, as a whole. Again, I'm a political outsider, never been in politics, so I don't know all the ins and outs of these things just yet. I definitely want to learn more about it. Our school system is behind. Time they build a school is at capacity.
Yeah.
So I don't know what formula they have to figure out how many students they're going to have, but I think we need to, I know to fund everything, but you can't fund it without taxes and stuff. This is one of them necessary evils, unfortunately. But we've got to figure out a way to build bigger schools. I know a lot of people don't want to go up, they want to go out, but we have to figure out something.
Yeah.
Because whenever you build a school and it opens, you have to pull single wides and double wides for classrooms.
Shortly, a year or so after.
With that.
Yeah. I think that's a moving target, man.
Correct.
It just seems to be a moving target year in and year out.
And going back to that budget, the 26%, it's labeled as, I guess, emergency services.
Yeah.
But that is EMS, fire departments, everything included in that one. 26%.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I was speaking with the mayor Turner, we were talking, and I don't know that everybody realizes, and I've got a question specific to emergency services and volunteer fire departments, but I don't think everybody realizes the importance. You think about 911, but when you start talking about the ISO rating, that's a direct impact on every citizen of the county.
Correct.
For their fire insurance, for their homeowners. Yes. Yeah. For Republican. So that's a big one. So let's talk a little bit about economic development, and then we'll morph into some housing. One area that I don't know that everybody thinks traditionally, they think of economic development, they think of manufacturing, or they might think of Camp Lejeune, or whatever, but tourism. Tourism is a big economic engine that drives this community. 2024, $415 million was brought into the county through tourism. And we got to figure out a way between that and Camp Lejeune to diversify. So thoughts, strategies for economic growth and potentially supporting small businesses, which you are directly impacted about small businesses.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about that.
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah.
that is something that we will have to sit around and talk about together.
Yeah.
Get everybody together, but get everybody's input.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree. It's a tough. There's a lot of tough issues that we've got facing us.
They're all,
And if you get folks in the room and have conversation, you can really figure things out. I think.
we're not all going to agree on things, but when we make a big decision, we may not agree with everything, but we have to come together as a group and figure out what's better for everybody.
Yeah.
And if we don't control the growth we have, how much more tourism are we going to have in this kick?
That's a great point. Talking about growth, let's talk about housing. So, a couple issues with housing. Housing costs are rising. One, that's obviously a big one. Second one is so affordability. Second one is availability.
Yes.
And then if you want to take them together, available, affordable housing. So what do you think the role of the Board of Commissioners is as it relates to affordable and or available housing?
Oh, well, I think, going back to property taxes, that plays a role into that. And all goes back to supply and demand, but growth has to pay for growth. And I think that's the big key right now. We're to a point in our county where our roads are overcrowded.
Yeah.
Our drainage is gone downhill. I've seen flooding when Florence in 2018.
2018, yeah.
I stayed at the firehouse and I saw places that flooded that I've never seen flood before. And it was all because of some construction that had gone on in that area.
Yeah.
And it rerouted the water and it had nowhere else to go. And it just backed up.
Great segue. Infrastructure. So you talked about roads, and the growth associated with roads. Talk a little bit about, so the county, and I don't know if you've had much time to delve into it, but the county has partnered with Camp Lejeune to do a $1.6 million infrastructure study. And it's obviously pretty concerning because of the PFAS contaminants.
Yes.
Everyone knows about those if you live here, or honestly, if you live anywhere, because you can turn on the TV
Absolutely.
and watch an attorney or a group saying, "Hey, did you live in Camp Lejeune during this time frame?" So that's obviously another issue. But you talked about roads, other infrastructure improvements that you find critical.
Well, water and sewer.
Water and sewer.
Out in Richlands, we got a lot of hydrants that are pretty low on the flow rate.
Is that the pressure?
Yes.
Yeah, the pressure.
How much water we can get out of that in a minute.
Yeah.
But the water main lines are like 4-inch or something like that.
Yeah.
So we need to figure something out to get more water out to these places. And when it comes to housing, I hate to say it, but if developers want to develop, we got to figure out a plan where developers can pay partly for the update and the infrastructure.
Yeah.
I don't know the correct answer to solve all these problems, but again, that's something we have got to figure out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's got to be figured out if we're going to continue to grow and we're going to continue to be a vibrant community, and with growth and tourism and quite honestly, be in a place where folks want to live.
Absolutely,
there's things that we got to figure out.
And another part, and you work in the Jones Onslow, you may be able to answer this. I know it's probably the cost is ungodly, but when we look at our power, our utilities around here, why don't we go to metal poles?
That's a great point, and it is cost, and a lot of folks also want to know why we don't bury power lines, or why we didn't bury power lines, but it is called cost prohibitive. So we talked about how great it is to live here, not just for us, but for folks coming. Park and recreations. The fiscal year budget in 26 included funding for some comprehensive park improvements and an indoor rec facility. So beyond the basic services that the Onslow County Park and Recs provide, what recreational, cultural, or quality of life amenities are most needed to make Onslow County a place where families want to come, settle down, stay, and not leave.
Of course. So, we have the YMCA coming. They're building a pool now.
This is a great joint venture between public and private.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think so. Then again, everybody's not going to agree. Some
Yeah.
people hate it. Some people are like, well, my county dollar shouldn't go to that.
Yeah.
But I think it will be good for Onslow County. I ride out to Duplin County and they have an event center.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered, why do we not have that in Onslow County?
Yeah.
We need something to where people can come together. We can have events. I played soccer as a little kid. I traveled to Greensboro for soccer tournaments. I'm like, why have we got to travel up here for a tournament? We got plenty back home. Let's have some facilities where we can host tournaments. They will come. I promise.
Yeah. I was, former life, I was the chairman of the Jackson Onslow Sports Commission for 8 or 10 years. And so the sports thing hit near and dear to me. Had kids that played travel soccer, travel volleyball, traveled all over North Carolina, felt like all over the world. I always said, we're going off and spending our money outside the county. Let's get them to come here.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the things associated with having facilities like that, the average citizen doesn't pay for. It's done through lodging taxes, unless you're living here and staying at a hotel. It's a lot of it's done through lodging taxes. So,
and you get a facility, you host these tournaments in the summertime. They're going to rent a house at the beach.
Yeah, great.
They're going to stay there. They're going to spend their money in Onslow County.
Yeah.
And I think a great indoor facility for pickleball or tennis.
Yeah,
I think that would be great. My father-in-law has got me into tennis and pickleball.
Nice.
I love it. I've been a golfer my whole life.
Yeah,
but it is it's a different, change in pace, but
yeah,
I love it. And you look around, River Landing has indoor.
Mhm.
I know that's a whole different scenario there, but
Yeah.
I think we could have something like that here in Onslow County.
That's great. So let's talk about near and dear, fire and emergency services. The county provides funding for 20 volunteer fire departments and has allocated dedicated property tax revenues for fire services. Is this funding adequate? And is the model sustainable? Or do you see there needing to be a change to how the county supports emergency services and fire protection?
I had a conversation this morning with a gentleman here in Onslow County about that same issue. And it goes back to the $517,000 truck as opposed to a $1.2 million truck 5 years apart. Onslow County as a whole is behind when it comes to our fire departments. We're running 30-year apparatus out of our stations.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
We are behind the curve. And it is going to take some money up front to get us back to where we need to be. But once we get there, I think we can maintain that a little better than what we have been doing. But the funding model needs to be a little different. And I don't know if you watched the meeting last night, the commissioners meeting.
Yeah, I did not.
So they're doing, instead of the 3 cents, they're wanting to do a 5 cent.
But I did hear that today though.
So I think that will definitely help. And I think that's something else that needs to be talked about and discussed and figure out what we're going to do with the extra 2 cents.
So they've allocated or they've appropriated it, but it really hasn't been decided how it's going to be. The commissioners will be ultimately making the decision on that.
Correct.
Okay. Well, good. Talk about education. We've got a son going to be growing up, going to school. 35% of revenues in the budget go towards the Board of Education. Now that's just funding. I don't want to say day to day, but that's not capital expenditures. That's for the school doors to open up, to pay the teachers, to supply those things. So adequate funding. Do you support the formula? But more importantly, man, what can we do, and what can you do as commissioner to help improve education and see that our kids are succeeding?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids are the future of America, the future of Onslow County. I don't know about the funding model. Again, I have no idea what that looks like. I think a lot of problems we have now is we're pushing so many kids to go to 4-year universities.
Yeah.
And now we're missing out on people being a lineman at Onslow, being an HVAC, a plumber, our trades. It's a wide open field now.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do something to bring that back in to the school system.
Yeah.
When I was in school, we had electrical trades, drafting and design, things like that. And I'm sure they still have that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if my kid wants to go to work, I didn't go to college. I mean, I had a company. I knew what I was going to do.
Yeah.
College isn't for everybody.
That's a great point, man.
So
that's a great point. So partnerships, we got 40,000 Marines and sailors with a big fence around them, right? Prime property in Onslow County, right? Not going to go there, but anyway, what do you think, and how would you rate, as far as you know, the county, Camp Lejeune, the base relationship, and what potentially could be done to potentially improve it?
As a whole, I think we have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah.
Like, again, I don't know much about that.
Yeah.
I have sat in a few meetings, and I think there's been some issues. They have capacity to pump sewer more than we do, but I don't think they allow us to pump anymore to them. And I know right now, if you listen to an EMS radio, I don't know if you have a scanner or not.
Yeah.
We call for assistance from Camp Lejeune almost every day. We're an ambulance, if not more ambulances. And granted, we do the same for them if needed, but I think that's starting to stress their system out as well.
Yeah.
So I definitely think there are some improvements to be made.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I think I'm kind of a neo on that as well. It's and I think just from being around here and being somewhat involved for a little while with it, I think it changes when they have change of commands and different folks in charge of the base. Not in a bad sense. It just things change.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah. So
then the other side of that is, if Camp Lejeune wasn't here, what would Jacksonville and Onslow County be?
That's I'll step in the $1 million question, right?
That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's a real hard one. So transient population, military, they're transient. A lot of times they come in and they utilize our services.
Absolutely.
A lot of folks, good or bad, I'm just stating the facts. They rent a house, so they don't have to pay property taxes. They may have a vehicle that stays titled in another state. So talk about some of the challenges that this transient community brings to our community while they're here, and any thoughts about what we can do to address those things.
So yeah, going back to that, that is a big problem because they rent houses, but the property owner is left paying the taxes.
Yeah.
And what I would like to see done, because we have real estate as well, and the people that rent, they're calling 911, but they're not paying into the system to help pay for that. So if we could possibly cut our property tax rate and go through legislature and increase our sales tax. So that way you're hitting everybody across the board. Anybody that comes here to visit, when they buy food, when they buy anything, when the military comes off base to eat at our restaurants, to buy things, goods and services out in Onslow County, they're paying into that system. And I think that's the fairest way to do it.
Consumption tax with excluding white goods with like milk and diapers and and things like that. That's a great idea. A couple of go-with things as we wrap this thing up. So the Board of Commissioners, they have a tough job, really tough job. I commend you, man, for going out there and doing this. But the commissioners, they got to balance 6 incorporated towns. Then you got unincorporated areas, Surrey, Hubert. So it's kind of a series of blue questions. How will you, one, work with fellow commissioners who may have different priorities than you if you're elected?
At the end of the day, we all have to come together and do what is right for the citizens of Onslow County. Like I said at the beginning, we're not all going to agree on everything, but I think we're at a turning point in Onslow County where big decisions have to be made.
Yeah.
We need to be more transparent and I know you can only be as transparent as you can be on certain issues.
Yeah.
But I think there's room for more transparency, communication. That's a big issue that I definitely want to.
And that's a flows into the second question. So how would you ensure as a county commissioner ensure transparency or potentially trying to improve communications between the board, the government, and citizens? How would you any thoughts on that?
I mean, Facebook can be bad, but it can be a great tool. Put things out on Facebook. Onslow County does these surveys where they get like 200 to 400 people to input into that, and they're making decisions off of that.
Yeah.
And for a population of 213,000 people,
13,000. Yeah.
I don't think that's cutting it.
Yeah.
So we need to get it out to the public better on what we're doing. It goes back. A lot of people don't like some of the property Onslow County purchases. And I don't think it's necessarily that they're mad that they purchased it. It's they didn't know why they were purchasing.
Yeah.
Let the people know, hey, there's a piece of property. It could come into play. It could be used for an EMS station, a firehouse, whatever. Let the public know what your intent is.
And I think, Facebook is great. And just like I've heard him printed it when I was interviewing Rim, that was one of the whole reasons that we're starting this show.
Absolutely.
We're starting this show. There's other forums out there that are doing just what we're doing. There've been 2 county commissioner forums, one in Swansboro, one that the chamber held at the city of Jacksonville. You do have, you obviously have TV, folks, and you got radio folks. But I think the more more opportunity, whether it's drilling it in somebody's head or just providing another opportunity, for someone to learn, someone to get it in front of someone's face, it's always a good thing. And that's again, no agenda with doing this. Our background here is mainly in sports. We love sports, but we just thought that this was something that would be pretty neat to do. And hopefully folks will appreciate it. They'll see it on their own more about what you guys are doing. The final 60 seconds or less. Look into that camera and tell the voters of Onslow County why Elliot Jarman should vote for you in the Republican primary March 3rd.
Yes, sir. It won't take 60 seconds. Again, my name is Elliot Jarman. I have deep roots here in Onslow County, and I want to make sure Onslow County continues to be a great place to grow a family, that my little boy will grow up and raise a family here as well, that my business can continue to thrive. Lower property taxes, strong emergency services, and honest leadership, and that's what I'm about.
That's awesome. Elliot, listen, man, thank you so much for joining us on Living Local, for sharing your stance on the issues that are important to the folks that live here in Onslow County. Best of luck to you March 3rd. And to the viewers watching, get out and vote. It's very, very, very important. Get out and vote. Your community is counting on you. So again, thank you, man. I appreciate it a bunch. Great to see you. And good luck March 3rd.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching the premiere episode of Living Local, Authentic Voices, Conversations That Matter. A special thank you to the 5 candidates who joined me and helped launch this show with genuine conversations about the future of our community. This is just the beginning. Each month, Living Local will feature the people and organizations making our community better. Business leaders, educators, nonprofit directors, and everyday citizens doing extraordinary things. You can find every episode on the Man Cave Media Network YouTube channel. Search Man Cave Media NC and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. Have a story, idea, or someone you think we should feature? Reach out to us at mancavemedianc@gmail.com. That's mancavemedianc@gmail.com. Or connect with us on Instagram or Facebook. I'm Steve Goodson. Thanks for being here from day one. Keep living local. We'll see you next time.
Living Local is made possible by Marine veteran Amy Goss with Guild Mortgage. Everyone deserves the American dream. Amy helps you achieve it.